to a 1. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that up. Can you see it too, Peter? It says an interview with Feather Redheart.
Yes, it says
Okay.
live. Yeah.
Good. So we're just going to let an audience build, see if, and if you want to invite people, go ahead. I suppose I could do that from my phone because it's right here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me see. Let me go on Facebook too also.
Oh, there we are.
On my laptop. And, yep, I guess there's so much to add on and so much to do. Let's see.
Hey, Luba. Luba is online. Welcome, Aaron. We've got, it says 10 people, but okay, I only see 2 messages. Okay, so for those of you few who've just joined, please share. Hi, Gina. I'm doing a live feed. As you know, I'm in Toronto, Canada. Gina. Oh, hang on. We don't want the phone getting involved. There. So today we have a special guest with us. His name is Feather Redheart, and he is currently in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Is that where you currently call home, Peter?
I call it home for now. So it's not my hometown, but it is my home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did we meet?
Wow. I think we met on Facebook first before we met on person in Standing Rock. I think, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, someone's saying hi, though.
Yep, that's Luba. She's a strong keyboard warrior.
Oh. How are you, Luba?
Hey, Stephen from the UK. Stephen Goodinson.
Nice. I just want to know that for all our relatives out there, this is the very first time that Feather Redheart is on live, and this is the very first time that I'm on video, so this is kind of new to me, so I just want to let everybody know that. So, but I'm sorry, Didi.
Yeah. No, that's all right. It's Peter's maiden voyage on Be Live, right?
Yeah, right.
So we won't tell you how long it took us to be able to make this broadcast happen. But when you get 2 not technologically savvy individuals, it's interesting, let me tell you. Okay, Jamie. Hi, Kim.
Says welcome, Peter.
There you go. A welcome. Looking good. A shout out from the bros.
Wow.
A video virgin. Daniel's a young man. Here's his comment.
Oh, wow. That's
all
good.
Right. Philadelphia's in the house.
Oh. Hello.
So today we are going to talk to Peter about who he is, where he comes from, and where he's at in life today, and he'll share some of his music and the instruments that he plays with us and give us a little bit of teaching, which we always love. He's definitely a mentor to the 7th generation. We're in that age group, aren't we, Peter?
We are. You know, so much to talk about and so much to do. And so, wow. It is. It just goes on forever, you know. So,
yes. Who is Peter? Who's Feather Redheart? Where are you from? Give us a little backstory.
Well, all the new relatives and all my relatives on Facebook, I've always said it's important to know who you are, where you come from. My name is Peter. I'm named after my dad, actually. Peter, you know, my grandmother's always saying that Peter kind of runs in the family, especially it's named after my dad. Yeah, and of course, it's like Peter's like one of the disciples of Jesus. So I guess I hear these stories or what. But really, then Peter's it's a Greek name. That's what it really stands for. And I've always known by Peter since I was a kid, though, because I mean, back through the 70s and 80s, and I mean, we didn't exist as Indian people, so they would always call me Peter. But you know, of course, the name of Peter is a Greek, and it's actually represents the rock. So really, Peter, people and relatives call me like Peter, so and whatever works. So I kind of stick with Peter though. Redheart really was part of my grandmother's name. Is Feather Brave Eagle. That's our Lakota name, and it's Feather Brave Eagle Redheart. And really though, my grandmother Dolores Feather Brave Eagle Redheart, which was given to me by the Lakota people of the Suchongo Lakota of our Teton Nation. Really though, when I introduce myself, it's always important to know your backgrounds of the tribe, and as well as the Teton Nations, and representing your people is not just myself, so it's not about myself. But really though, it's important as Indigenous, as American Indians, and as Native people that's around us then, is to know who you are and to where you come from. And I was born in up in Crow Creek, South Dakota, and which is in 1972. And I've always said this to all the messages that in 73, when my grandmother and my mother that protested on Wounded Knee in 73, and really then we moved to Albuquerque because I was born in a trailer. I was born in Crow Creek though, and we didn't have hospitals then. So there was something wrong with me, and we had to go to New Mexico to take me to the hospital when I was a baby. And I guess as us Indian people, we have like a high tolerance, high temperature. So, and pretty much then I was fine from there. So I was going to education schools, and most likely making sure if I was okay with my head, and sounds. They were giving me tests and so forth. And that's where kind of like what sounds and music came from when I was a boy, when I was 5 years old. That's when I started as a drummer. So my father, his family, his name's Pete, and he served the Army for 2 years at Vietnam War, and he's still alive today, and as a veteran. And my mother is Emma, and her family lives in California, but she lives here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. My grandmother's in the spiritual world now, and some of my family members are all in the spiritual world. And so that's where the music started when I was 5 years old, of sounds and speech in schools, giving me the sounds and different tones to what to put together and what to really adapt to, and just started off by playing drums before the flutes came. Yeah. So, but
so you started with drums? Yeah,
I started with drums back into the early 80s. I was the only snare drum player in elementary school, and it was here in Albuquerque though, in MacArthur. We didn't have band rooms, we didn't have instruments, we didn't have all that. We grew up in a very poor community, and really then I was the only snare drum, so my mother bought me a snare drum, and I started playing the snare drum. And it was all through many years, through elementary and through middle school, to Taft Middle School, and I was actually started to play in marching bands, and those were in the mid '80s at the time, where before I turned 13, we were doing so many different instruments, ukuleleans, guitars, and then the accordion flutes, and we didn't have the native flutes at the time yet. So really the flute came from the accordions, and I still have them today, actually, though, and since I was 13, and that's when I started playing. Just the band teachers, they saw something in me to how to play, and a lot of the kids and students, they didn't like playing all those things. So it was a very kind of poor community again, and other students like to play like saxophones and clarinets and other European instruments, and I just had to get an assignment to learn how to play the accordions and make songs out of them. And what does it mean? And, just the teachers just saw something in me. And I was a very quiet person. I was a very quiet boy, to really learn and to educate everything what I can do. And most likely, education was my life. I was getting good grades from A's and B's from there, and all through high school was the biggest thing, to be in the marching band, as playing drums.
Where were you, Peter? Were you in South Dakota?
This is where, at the time, my mother, we were looking for high schools in Albuquerque, New Mexico, through South Dakota. And they were going to give me to Albuquerque High, which they didn't have the studies and in the right courses for me. And, well, pretty much then, my parents, they were really working. They were working, but they're not making enough. So we decided to go back home to South Dakota and Central High School. And really then, that's where some of the courses was good, but those times just wasn't enough for me.
Can you see, Peter? Can you see the comment on the screen?
Yes. It says, I love the native flute music. It touches the heart and soul.
Yes, that's Glenda from the Blackfeet Nation of Montana. Can you just speak to that when she says it touches the heart and soul?
Glenna's, that, to be honest with you, I started playing the flute from my great uncles, like Robert Tricotti, and before even my great uncle, Iron Eye Cody, that was one of the greatest actors in Western movies and so forth. And that was really such a big touch, because I was playing the powwow drum at the time, and then onto the flute. So everything really matched to where, it was really going, but it was in me, but the family and the teachers saw something in me, and I continued playing on. So I was told to do all this. Playing the native flute was, it was fun through the 90s, but really it was very spiritual, because it became more than that. So it became prayer. It became more than spiritual. It became more of the body and the soul. And, it's hearing these sounds. You're not just hearing music. You're hearing, this is about prayer. This is about from the heart. It's not from the mind, because you don't want to create karma. You want to create from your heart. That's where it's coming from. That's where all the questions come from. Well, this is where the answers I have to let out, where how I deal with nature and how these things come about. Because every day when I wake up, there's a tone or something for me to play. I don't know if it's a song. I don't know if it's anything yet until I have to talk about it. So there's more to it to share with the others, especially women. Women want every detail and detail and detail. Well, I got some, but then I have to visualize. I have to, you know, give the answer later on to where I can seek for visions. And, you know, sometimes I sleep with my flutes on and my teepees on with my candles on in my bedroom. That you're probably hearing the flutes right now, right behind me in my bedroom. So it's very important. I've done this all my life. And there's another comment, I guess, before more than spiritual became players from the heart. That's true. You know, that's Jamie, I guess, Franklin. Well, that's part of it. But it's becoming not just spiritual, not just music. Now we're pretty much involving for everybody because people are so involved in what we're doing. And people are just, you know, having a good time and they're having fun with the flutes. That's great. That's what I used to do back when I was 13, but it wasn't introduced to me yet. So there's another person made a comment, I guess, before now. Okay, yeah. So these little things, like the comments I'm getting, is one of the things. But really today, it's all about prayer. It's all about knowing from especially your spirit and heart and soul to give out others for healing. So, you know, I've heard many things that how people say like Cocoa Bellies used to do that. I don't associate with that or nothing like that. Back home and up in the northern South Dakota, I mean, as us Lakota people, that's sacred to us, that, you know, us Lakota people were very much into where all of our sounds and from our ancestors and all through the spiritual ways of our way of life that comes from the Black Hills or comes from Wounded Knee or our ancestors, and you know, and the Great Lake of the Oahu, of the Missouri River. My music comes from up there. Comes from the teepee mato. The drum is a heartbeat of Mother Earth. Yes. Now it's Grandmother Earth. The drum has always been the heartbeat from Grandmother Earth. So as much as then with the flutes, though, I have to educate people to make them understand the difference between a native flute. It's not an American flute. It's a native flute. It is not a clarinet, and it's not just an instrument, though. We don't see that as instruments. So people from Europeans, you know, they make handmade instruments there. That's handmade, yes, a clarinet and soprano saxophone or what, to very different than a native flute, because they have so many keys on a clarinet and on any other instrument. A native flute is only one key, just one key though. You imagine how many keys on a native flute. There is so many keys, hundreds of keys, minor keys, sharp keys, and to the high keys, mid-range, to the lows, bass sounds of the contras, which is the grandfather flutes, and the contours and so forth. So there is hundreds of different keys of flutes, different sounds, how you play it. This is where you have to know that, you know, I've been playing the native flute now probably for about 32 years. And I'll be playing it for the rest of my life. And I was a drummer for 35 years. So.
Peter?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you show us one one of your flutes? Do you have one with you there? I think people are asking a lot of questions already about that.
About it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they're in my bedroom. Yeah, they're in my bedroom. See, if you give me about 1 minute, okay? I'm gonna pull out different kinds and borals and different softwoods. Okay, just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
All right. Yep. Okay, so Peter's gonna go get his different flutes and show them to us. Please, Cheryl. This is his first live broadcast. He's a very accomplished flautist, and he's got many, many albums. You can find him on YouTube at Peter Feather Redheart on YouTube. Peter Feather Redheart. And he's also on Facebook as well. And he travels all the time, bringing the message as well as through discussion and prayer and song music.
So here we go, Didi.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm holding here, let me go ahead and I have you on the tripod, so really then this is why I want to go a little more back and show you here. This one here is a red-tailed hawk.
Nice.
So with the red-tailed hawk, this was given to me by Randy Castillo. Randy Castillo was a rock star when actually back in the 90s, and gave me my first second eagle feather. When I was 10 years old, I was given my first eagle feather by Lika, and he was my mentor. And Randy, we were both drummers, and he played for Ozzy Osbourne and played for Motley Crue, and so really he gave me this flute, and because he was from Zia Pueblo, and so before he moved to LA as a big, huge rock star at the time. So this was a red-tailed hawk, and this is an F sharp. So this is actually a red cedar flute, and pretty much this is my first one, and I played this many times. It's kind of worn out, and to the Lakota album, which is all about the teepees. So this is actually, I have this on my nightstand right next to me in my bed when I sleep. So, and those are my hawks, and here's my other, my second flutes that I've had. I've had these for decades. These are the these are the hawks. So this is probably the Harrison hawk, and this is probably the golden hawk. So us Lakota people, we've always had many kinds of hawks. And of course the eagles, all my eagles are all put away. But really, these were given to me by my uncle, Robert Tricotti. And so pretty much then, these are just natural woods. I'll go ahead and show you. Let me see. These are actually red cedars, but these are non-finished. So, and they do have a good sound, a good tone to them. But really, I used to play these back in the mid-90s to the late 90s, because I didn't play them that much, because I was all gothic at the time before I became a rock star. And so these still play good. With all the flutes that I have over about 21 flutes, and so people ask me what am I going to do with them. Well, they're going to be donated to the Native American museums, to the cultural centers, and probably to the cultural centers, and probably my sacred animals will probably be back home in South Dakota. So, so very much amazing interview. Wow. So I'm getting comments here all of a sudden. So these are just the very original flutes here, as you can see, that I played these in the Lakota album that's on my Lakota album. So these have a really good mid and high sound. So, and how did you make the flute? What type of wood? Well, these are all actually red cedars. So, except for this one, this is the golden hawk. This one is a Spanish cedar. So, but this is actually a red cedar, which is a totem. So the hawks are a little more longer on the totems, as you can see. And these are the red cedar, this is the Harrison hawk. So, and this is the red cedar, which is the red-tailed hawk. So this was my very first.
Nice.
Flute. So it still plays good. It has a really good resonant sound, a good soft sound, compared to my other Red Haynes flutes, and I'll get those out here in a minute. These are probably worth maybe about $100 or even a little more. So, you know, these are back in the 90s. So, you know, compare to the ones that I'm going to be pulling out right now. These ones here that I'm playing on the Four Seasons on the spring album, the winter album, and now I just about to release the fall album. And to all my relatives, please bear with me. The album's going to be out. I've had so many deaths, and I know everybody knows that. And just try to calm down, and you know, it'll be out. It'll be out soon. So hopefully by the mid-June, no later by late June. So
how many albums have you done so far that you've recorded in a studio? Over how many years?
I've actually started recording my first album, which is called Listen to Your Heart. Listen to Your Heart. This actually goes back in the earlier 2000s. This was when I used to live in New York, up in Chestertown, New York, and up in upstate. And I was with the Mohawk territory, and they took care of me well. At those times, they were really. I was still a rock star at the time, though, but some of the other relatives then, they talked about many things, about many flute players, and they mentioned my uncles, Robert Tricotti and so forth. And, you know, really, it was about time for me to start playing the flute, to come back and start playing it. And so I came back to Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2008, and it was about time. Even some other men inspired me to play, like my mentor, Sky Redhawk, and I'm thinking of Ronald Roybal. They've been always wanting me to start playing the flute again, and so really then I started playing it, and I think it was about time to play in the early 2000s. I started that in the studio in 2010. That was when there's so many stories, and when I was living in Santa Fe, and especially a Kyle Smith. You know, I'm always saying hi to him. He's another flute player. You know, he was showing me this first flute that I have here. I'll show it to the viewers. This was the very first flute. This is a black African walnut. And this is actually a $2,000 flute. And Kyle showed me this, and really then I started playing the first song out of this, and really then this was in the La Fonda in Santa Fe, and I started playing my first album called Listen to Your Heart. I didn't name the Four Seasons yet, because me and Red Hawk and Ken, my producer, we were talking about, you know, what to name the albums, to what is coming for me to put out there. And we were actually, Kyle was telling me a lot about Brett Haynes and some of the flute makers, Randy and Shelley's, you know, especially Randy. I mean, I miss him so much. He just passed away about a week ago, and so I have 3 of his flutes. So
we really, I think, want to hear something. It's driving everybody crazy. I'm reading the comments. Yeah.
Do they want to hear? Do they want to hear me play?
Yes, please.
Right
I think
here.
Absolutely.
I'll play.
I think a lot of people need a little bit of healing and a little bit of
we all do.
An idea, you know?
Right. Well, we all need it though. Let me play a song. The first song that I first played from the Spring album, that is called "A Dream," and there's a story to that because it's about the flute.
Okay.
That I'm playing right here. So I just started off with just the bottom keys though.
Okay.
So that's just the first piece that I just started. You know, Kyle Smith gave me this flute, and he said, "This is what I first played." And he loved it so much to where, you know, I didn't know what to call it, but the tone and the sound of this first flute of Brett Haynes, I just kept playing it and playing it. And how can you just keep playing it? Well, it's coming from the heart as one, but to let the viewers to know that that's just the first verse. Then there's a second verse.
Okay.
So it's different how you're playing a song, you know, playing the flute, to where you can change your verses, then you have a break. The break is how it's different between the first and second verse. You know, when you're playing a song with a band, you got a first, second verse, and then you got a chorus, and then you got a second verse and another chorus, then you got a break. So how long do you want to play the song? Well, some of them play for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. My songs play up to about 4 to 5 minutes because I want people's minds and hearts not just to relax, but to go straight from the heart, and how it builds in your spiritual guidance and in your ways, and especially how you're feeling and knowing the sounds. And especially women, I mean, they really kind of relax or sleep on it, or either they use yoga. I mean, there's so many tones and ways how people will actually kind of feel the sounds and what they're seeing out of. So really then, I kept playing with this one flute, and to where I played the other flutes, which was the low keys, and those were the D and the E's. So that one I just played was the F sharp. Okay. So that was the F sharp is just like the red tail hawk that I just played. But why do I have two of the same keys? Well, because there's different materials. That one that I just played here, this is a black African walnut. So this is a boral flute.
Okay.
So my red tail hawk, these are 2 F sharps. So this one, my red tail hawk, is actually a red cedar. So this is just a red cedar. This is a boral flute. So the different kinds of different materials, okay? And they're all meant for good for performances and for practice and however you want to use. Mostly all my flutes are mostly all for performance. But the thing is, I want to see this as more as high performance. So,
well, what about? I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were at Standing Rock and you felt, as many of us did, the spirit with a capital S, and you knew how special it was there. It's hard to put into words, but as somebody who's Indigenous and who you had your flutes with you, did you find that you were called to play? And if so, what did that look like? At what times? Did you really feel a need? You know?
Yeah. You know, that's a good question. I felt a lot. I really felt a lot there. That really, though, I didn't want to leave there really in Standing Rock because there was so much going on, so much to adapt to, where there were so many to where I had to kind of leave the area to be alone sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Play. And how do I do that? Well, I'm always driving by myself. This is how I deal with nature. When I travel with rental cars or on the plane or either by myself to my sacred lands or in the mountains or the Rocky Mountains or anywhere else. And it's all in my heart. It's not in my head. So basically, when I was up there, I had to go, to grandfather's, to Papa Sitting Bull's grave. It was just me and grandfather, just by myself with my flute. And I took pictures of myself. I carry tripods with my iPhone, so I take a lot of pictures of myself and video by myself. It's important to video yourself to what you're playing. So when I'm playing a tone close to a song, this is where I have to work with it because I don't want to miss a beat. I don't want to miss a tone. I don't want to miss anything. So it's important to really kind of record yourself to these tones and sounds to really put it on video, because there's video everywhere and there's photos everywhere. There's eyes everywhere. So it's important. It helps me to where I won't miss a beat. So I can, maybe it's a song, maybe it's not, but something I can use. And my job is to affect people. My job is to fisticate women, to affect women, and to knowing them themselves for who they are, and what the sounds and what it relates to. And these are all women, and especially the children that has more and better questions than adults do. And most likely, this is where they're really finding themselves and really knowing. And really, it's not a woman's job to, not just to really have these details, which is, in a way, some of them do. But really then it's just everyone's different to what they want to know about, what they want to feel and see, and what they're really knowing, especially about the flute and all. So the native flute is a tool. In the Lakota ways, we have a tradition of the Lakota way to where there's a flute player that plays for his loved one, plays for the woman that he really loves. And in the Indian tradition ways is that if you marry that woman and you're that flute player, you can no longer play no more. Why? Because you're devoted to that woman. However, the women have spoken, and all the women have become the consuls of Grandmother Earth's consuls, and they have decided to where even your wife will make your final answer if the flute player, as your husband, continues to play for the people. And women will say it's a must to play, but your wife will give you the final answer that you will continue to play for the people. And say yes, because I want to play for the people, but however, I will still play for my loved one, for my girlfriend or wife at night, play her song, play her something, and then continue to play all of the songs, at night inside the teepee. So this is how the teepee is meant for, whether the teepee is a woman. So, So
you have to play something from that one, since you brought it out. You've been hanging on to it.
I just pulled this out. This one.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a boral flute. Let me bring it up close.
Okay.
This is a boral flute. This was just made by Brett Haynes, my flute maker. This is a rosewood boral. With the this here is the black ebony. And this is the mother pearl. And here, if you can see the black feather here, that is the black feather of the raven. So this flute is actually on the new album of the fall album of the Heart of the Ravens. So
nice.
You can see here, this was just made, and you can see my signature here of the Lakota of Peter Feather Redheart engraved. And all through is the same thing on the top.
Wow.
This
is beautiful.
Yeah, this is another $2,000 flute. So.
Well, we got to hear something. Can you, Peter?
Okay. Yes, I can play something.
Well, do you know what it is? Can I tell you something quickly?
Yeah.
When I was at Standing Rock and I was very, very unwell and things were still happening fast and furious, I think it was around the time with the water cannon episode, and the weather was getting very bad.
Yeah.
What's her name came out? Oh, what's her name? Did a benefit concert. Red hair. Why can't I think of who it is?
Okay. I was in Nashville, Tennessee when I heard about that.
Really?
Yeah, because this was another moment when I was playing a show in Nashville, Tennessee. I just left Standing Rock, and I had to go to do a wedding there and a show in Nashville, Tennessee, and then I went to Clarksville, Tennessee. So I was in my hotel room.
Bonnie Raitt. Sorry.
Bonnie Raitt. That's what
and Jackson Browne.
Jackson Browne. Right.
And I got to go backstage after and hug both of them, but I hugged Bonnie, and I was able to say to her, thank you for bringing music to us, because honestly, I knew, and I forewarned people that would see me in the audience, I said, I will be that girl in the audience who everybody looks at and goes, who's that crazy girl dancing up and down? Well, you know what? I was transported to another place. It was just me and Bonnie, and I was up there jumping around like a crazy woman.
Yeah.
But you know what? So much healing and so much joy. That's it. They brought healing, they brought joy, they brought that energy,
Yeah.
Because it ain't easy to get out to North Dakota in the middle of winter to play a benefit concert,
Right.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter season. It's up north Canada that is the worst disasters of the winter seasons up there. And this is where, the weathers are really brutal. I've heard what happened, to some of the weather conditions up there, and it actually killed some of our relatives up there when they were in cancer, and because this is what our ancestors went through, that those brutal winters could actually kill you, and from 0-degree weather. And this is why even my older sister Joanne Spotted Bear said to stay in your teepees. So this is what it's meant for the teepees for, to keep you warm inside, and it's meant for the Northern Plains teepees, why they're up there and why Grandmother Earth designed them for weather and high winds conditions. You know, someone say yes, always. So, yeah. So things like that. Beautiful note of the flute. Oh, thanks. I think Lori or Patterson or something. Yes,
Lou Parsons. She's one of our keyboard warriors, originally in the UK, but she just moved to Cyprus. So she's in the land of olives. Okay, so Peter, are you going to grace us with just a few notes? Because honestly, I think that everybody's feeling really, really, the energies are all over the place. And I think more than ever, those core, ethereal, grounded, spiritual notes are so powerfully healing. So if you're willing to share, we're listening.
Okay, let me tell you what the flute is here. This is, of course, the black Feather Raven. This is off the new album, or the fall album. And Brett Haynes just made this a couple of months ago. And this is an F. This is a low F. It's not a F sharp, but this is a low F. So this is a low key. So let me play one of the songs off of the fall album, which is called Raven.
Okay. Feather Redheart.
So it's something like similar like that, but I don't have my amps around me though, because it gives it a little more better echo sound and a little more acoustic sound. So,
brother, it came through beautifully. Seriously,
thank you.
Yes, the audio's Great. And there's lots of thank yous coming in, of course, because honestly, Peter, the energy, you know, we as humans don't know. Some of us are more in tune. Some of us look at and analyze what are energies, what are they about, etc. We have an awareness that we've decided we agree with. But you cannot deny a universal sound or energy, such as music, the flute, you know, all the elements of the earth, you know, different walking things on the earth to get your shell and your abalone and so forth, you know, and then you put your oxygen, your soul energy to that, and we get to listen to the outcome. Do you ever feel like there was a calling and that you're blessed to be able to get that across? It's so healing, Peter. It's so healing.
It is. It's a lot of healing. It's really, though, you know, I've been doing this for many decades, you know, for 32 years. And it was different times to how we are in this time today. Really, though, with all about, especially when you were just asking me, Didi, about when I was there in Standing Rock, it gave me a whole lot. What to describe, what to know. Really, though, I mean, to be honest with you, when I got there, you know, there's a story that, you know, I'm writing all this down because sooner or later, I got to make a book about it, you know, so, and Whoopie Laugh, thank you for the comment just said. When I got there that Saturday night at 10:30 in the camp, really, though, I didn't know what to expect, but really, though, I wanted to be on the front lines like everybody else. You know, but some of my loved ones and some of the ones that know me on Facebook, and they all greet me, and some of the fancy dancers danced, and they all welcomed me in the camp. And really, then, some of the loved ones, some of the women, they put me aside, and Vanna, she was there and on Facebook, and she was on Sacred Stone Camp, and they pulled me aside and told me what was going on and what's happened and what's going on at the time. Well, they told me the best thing they just told me is that, Peter, they didn't want me on the front lines because it's too dangerous. Let the water protectors, let the ones that are the strong ones, the younger ones go on there. And really, then they said, you know, some of my loved ones said, you're too important, Peter. You're too important you're going to get hurt or whatever. And these are the women. The women are telling me, and I have to agree with it. You know, I wasn't upset. It was about understanding to know what I was getting myself into. And now I had a long sleep there, and the energies were just so powerful that the visions called me, and this is where on sacred lands on Standing Rock at the camp, that was making me understand why there were the strong ones out there on the front lines. So, yeah. So my job was to go to all the camps, all of the medias. They came to me, and I'm telling them stories about the teepees, about our symbols of medicine wheel, of the Lakota ways, and playing my flutes there too, and some of the elders, and talk to the camps, talk to everybody, teach everybody, educate these people that don't know. And it was amazing that so many people were there, that they were from different countries, some from Italy, some from South America, I mean Australia, and
New Zealand,
and
UK,
and you know, I was next to you some of the time, and you know, I mean, you saw how I was with other people that.
Yeah. I was in the medic tent. We've got some pictures in the medic tent. Yeah.
You know, and how I was to everybody, to how I was sophisticating some of the women there. So things like that, to where I was telling them who they are, where they come from. And they were all saying that, well, they got some native, they got a little percentage Native, and some a little bit of blood Native. It's just real simple though. If you're born here in the Western Hemisphere, you are a Native American. So, yeah. So
I would go one step further.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't born here, there are some people who are more sensitive to others, just as human beings. Some of us are self-proclaimed because it's so obvious, right?
Right.
And so even the non-Native allies, their hearts were strong and they represented, they might have been first, but I used to tell them, you may be smaller in numbers, but it's not quantity, it's quality.
Quality, exactly. Right.
If you came with an open heart, you are a strong ally, and we welcome you, and we're glad you're here.
Exactly. People were here for a cause, but some of them, I would hate to say this, but some of them were there for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully their eyes will open and they will learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we will humbly carry on doing whatever we can. For me, it's more communicating people. See, look at what Lou has stated. I put that comment up.
Yeah.
That's my gift, is connecting people. I wanted my followers to meet you, but in meeting you, getting to know you as quickly as possible, because we only have so much time, right? We can do more live feeds, right?
I'm getting a lot of requests right now.
Are you?
I'm getting a lot of requests right now.
Awesome.
I've had about hundreds of requests.
Sorry, brother. It's going to only get worse. It's going to explode. But hey, listen. But you have a public page, yes, on Facebook? Do you have a public page as well as a personal?
I have a public page on Feather Redheart, which is my albums and my public page. I actually will tell everybody, if they want to chat with me, just go on Feather Redheart. If you can't get to it, then you can go on my album page on Peter Feather Redheart.
Okay.
Still leave a message, and I'm going to start messaging on Peter Feather Redheart now. So I got 2 profiles of Peter Redheart and Peter Feather Redheart, but also my music is all on YouTube also. So
exactly.
It's going to grow from there, because I'm going to be getting more other websites and.
Do you have specific areas of music that your albums have covered? I noticed some children's stuff there too, and maybe some meditative stuff, that if people need some healing and they want some meditative healing prayers, is there an album you could suggest that you have?
That is a good point. Tell you the truth, I'm going to be working on that this year.
Okay.
See, my main goal is to release the fall album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be doing that in June. But that will be my last album just for the 4 seasons, until the summer season, not till the next several years, probably when I'm 50 though. But there's going to be other journeys for me to travel. Like you said, that's one of them there for healing.
Yeah.
And another one will be a dramatic one, for more traditional. Could be a soothing, but also could be a little more of my voices and with the drums and the flutes. That one, I'm working on that one. It's called Redheart, and that one's going to be a little more dramatic and a different journey on that.
Okay.
And probably there's another one that when I talked to LaDonna up on Sacred Stone Camp, there was one that I've been working on that is called the Dakota Volume 1. That is the Sacred Lake Oahu.
Uh-huh.
That one is going to be a similar with the Lakota Volume 1, because the Lakota one is the different volumes of the TP, like the Black Hills, and like Volume 3 will probably be the the Tipi Mato of the Devil's Tower, and the Dakota, which will be the volume 1 of the Sacred Lake Oahu. So things like that. I'm going to be working on those things. So not so much onto my 4 seasons that's my goal to accomplish. So I have 3 winters. I have 3 seasons so far, and let's enjoy those so far, and let's enjoy hearing all of those. And as far as, and also the Lakota album of the volume 1s, and there will be more albums that I'll be making. I recorded myself almost every day of each tone that I'm playing. I got over hundreds and hundreds of songs on my computer that it hasn't been released yet. So you know, I don't know if there's songs yet. So there's
songs. That's what Prince did. That's what Prince did.
It is, and I have to go out and deal with more of the nature of Grandmother Earth's nature. So that's, do you know,
here's a little side note that has nothing to do with anything, but Prince, when he recorded albums, his favorite song, often he would pull it from the album and put it in an archive, and there's said to be over 300 because he recorded almost all the time. Do you do a lot of studio work?
Tell you the truth, I do. I do a lot at my second job. See, that's a good point right there, Didi, that my second job is all my videos on YouTube, that when I download on YouTube. That's my second job. That is, it's a bank. It's not my home, I wish, but it's a bank though, because it has acoustics in there that I play my flutes, and they don't mind when I play there. And that bank is the First Citizens Bank, and I love that bank so much because it has a lot of our ancestors in there, of our forefathers, the statue of Chief Joseph. It has even all the pictures of the wars of the George Armstrong Custer, of the Big Longhorn, with the Fort Laramie treaties and the railroads built in New Mexico. It has a lot. I mean, basically, it's like a museum, but that bank has become my church. So I've been there for more than 3 years. And someone left a comment, Melinda, I guess, I played the flute for 4 years by ear. I wish the greatest peace. I miss it and loved hearing you, feeling this music in the heart and spirit. Peter, I haven't been able to play since
Bell's palsy. A facial thing.
Completely. So flute is still playing in my heart. So Miigwech is to Canada.
Ojibwe, Oji Cree, yeah.
I want to tell everybody that, you know, I'm going to start touring by next year, especially in Europe, especially in Canada. People have been asking me to go to Canada, go to Europe, especially like my first stop will probably be Germany for the powwows there. And I know Patricia and the Netherlands, you know, Harriet, and to France, and even to Australia, especially Walter Smith. He has been begging me to come to Australia.
Yes.
Many of them, all the flute players there, New Zealand. There's so many countries to go to. This is the time now that I got 4 albums out, and I don't want to make any more albums yet, and not till the next 2 or 3 years, because I want to be traveling a lot now with all of the albums I have. And even after, when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, to Clarksville, all of our relatives, our Cherokee relatives there, I sold out of all my albums, all through South Carolina, North Carolina, to Georgia, and Florida and Melbourne, Florida, the Native Flute Festivals, and all through there. I mean, I am so out to where I'm going to get more coming in June with the new album with the fall. So I am ordering thousands and thousands of copies, some hundreds. So
all right.
There's going to be a lot more this year, next year when I'm traveling out there. So some of my photographers, Ray, told me to go to Salt Lake City with Red Haynes, another flute festival up there. I heard Robert Mirabal, which is my Taos Pueblo brother. He's going to be up there. And also Taos Pueblo, I'll probably be up in July through August. There's some powwows up in Nevada. Also in August, I'll probably go back to my hometown in the Black Hills, up in the Mount Rushmore Arena, up in the powwow up there. But especially I'm going to go probably to Florida in November, which is the Native Flute Festival. And I got a message from Catherine. She is the CEO of the World Flute Honor Society up in Wisconsin, which is they have the flute Wisconsin every 2 years. So those will be every 2 years. So really then, especially for the new year in 2018, I'm going to be traveling a lot. So which is pretty much my main goal is to go to Europe and to Germany, France, Netherlands, to some of the other countries that I haven't heard of yet. They want me to go there on Facebook to play and to teach and to tell stories. And so there's so many places to travel, and this is where it's coming to about to go and to play for all this. So I'm looking forward to all this. I'm looking forward to all this, and in the future I'll be making more albums and to be in the studio for the next several years.
Maybe maybe along the way I can share out a song or two on my timeline on my Facebook every now and again if you want to give the people a sample of what's coming out or whatever, let them know when the albums are coming out. Do you want to, before we go, because I'm reading here that I don't know if the feed is doing very well. It says it's a bit choppy. Yours looks better now. Do you want to play us out with something, or do you want to just conclude the interview? And you can come back on any time and we will talk about current things.
Yeah, we can come back and I like to do this. What you and I are doing, because I know that the numbers are going to add up with all our relatives, and it's going to add up with more questions and so forth. And I know they're listening to what we're talking about, and I like to continue the stories to what I'm telling, what my music and so forth. So this is just a sample.
Yes.
It's not everything what we're talking about right now, Didi. And I like to do this probably maybe every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or each month to update. And especially now for the spiritual time is coming up. That spiritual world to where it's important that I know people want to hear for the first time for me seeing on video my face and how I'm doing and where I'm at and where I'm going to be in traveling. So I like to keep this on a basic standard.
Perfect.
So,
yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, so I like this. So, so people get to see me on video, see us and what we're talking about,
Exactly.
What to show and what to expect, So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing this fall album out, and I'm expecting about 3,000 copies, and it's going to go from all over Grandmother Earth, all over Europe, South America, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, Mexico, and even all over Indian country in Canada as well, and Hawaii. So I got 5 books of now I got to make a 7 of all 7 continents. I got so many lists of where it's going to go, and even all of our relatives on Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so there's a lot to give out and a lot to know, and wow, it's just the numbers are growing by the thousands. And
awesome.
The copies are going to be in thousands, and I'm thinking thousands. I'm thinking thousands and thousands, and what? And it's like, wow. Even the kids in the middle schools and elementary schools are the same way too. So, wow, it's just, I only sleep for 4 hours a day. So I've been doing that for 30 some years. So, you know, so all the relatives in Europe, they want to talk to me when I'm asleep. So,
you know,
so it's, wow, it's overwhelming.
It is. So are you gonna play us out something?
Yeah, my battery's running low, so yeah, I'll go ahead and play a little something.
Okay.
Off of my red-tailed hawk.
Yeah.
So really, you heard from the soothing, kind of not traditional, but my Lakota, my first ones will be more traditional though. So I'll play something with this called Lakota. So that's a little traditional, a little aggressive, but that's a little traditional in the Lakota album. And so that gives it out a little more spiritual and traditional ways. And so good deal, Red-tailed hawk. And so my favorite, yes. Everybody has a favorite one, which is the red-tailed hawk is which is the cedarwood. So everybody likes the cedarwood though.
We got Linda from Reykjavik, Iceland watching.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
hi, Linda.
Nice. We say in Lakota, Menitikao, means how are you? So it's called Menitikao, means how are you in Lakota. So
nice.
But I love it.
Okay, so we only had a short time today with Peter, but now that we've figured out how to do this split screen live, that's more than half the battle, am I right?
Yes, I love it, yes.
You know?
Thank you, Linda. Whoopie.
So thank you again.
Good. So, yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So uplifting, thank you. Whoopila. Thank you means many, many thank yous. Whoopila in Lakota. So
Whoopila.
So you hear Whoopila with a W, like Whoopila. So that means many thank yous. Many, many thank yous. And so but yeah, we're gonna do this again, Didi. You know?
I think so. There's so much of the teaching.
So much to talk about. There's
right?
so much to share, so much to talk about, so much to share to all the relatives, and yeah, we're going to be in a spiritual time soon. So there's going to be a lot more. This is just a sample right now.
And just so people know, a lot of my live feeds are going to be more around getting to know the people that we may. Oh shoot! Did I just end the video? Shoot! Hang on.
No, it's still live.
Is it?
Yeah, I still see the live.
Okay, I'm still learning. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Red light.
what I want to do is interview a lot of people, but also on a semi-regular basis so that we can keep in touch with what you're doing. For example, Peter, we're going to follow Peter in his journeys where the music is taking him and the teachings are taking you around the country. We'll let people know where you are, because a lot of the people watching are from the areas that you may be visiting, for example.
Nice. Yeah.
And if you're willing to come on, if you're willing to come on and talk a little bit more about the cultural teachings, I'm sure people really, really would appreciate that if you have some time for that.
Sure.
Okay.
That'd be great. It'd be great for everyone to know and to learn.
Mm-hmm. So, is there anything you want to say finally before we sign off?
All I can say is that we're in a spiritual time now, and really then, let's all think positive, always think good. Really then, don't worry about anything. This graduation's coming up for our younger relatives and for our children's, and this is just always the beginning, and very much then that this is always, there's no end of life, and with all the deaths that's happened to me just a couple of months ago, I'm okay. Really then, they're in the spiritual world right now, and I'm just looking forward to releasing this new album. And so thank you so much for your time, Peter. And Whoopila, thank you for all the comments from all the relatives. I do want to say, please, my relatives that are new coming in to request me, kind of bear with me, please. I have hundreds of requests. I will let you in. Just kind of bear with me, be patient, and I will let you all in because I got more than 4,000. It's going to be by the thousands and thousands and so forth. So, just bear with me though. I will add you on. So let's keep our high spirits going and take care of ourselves. And there's more to talk about. And thank you, Didi, and to all our relatives. If you want to pull me aside and ask me and talk to me and what questions, I'll answer them. And bear with me though, and I will get with you. And so Whoopila though. So thank you so much. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming on and for blessing us with your music and your discussion. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much, Didi.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Much love to you, and you know me very well. So we'll talk later, okay?
All right.
Say goodbye.
No.
Say goodbye in the Lakota ways. We'll always say Doksha Aki, means we'll talk later. Okay?
All right.
Aki means okay, so we'll talk later, okay?
Yes.
So I have to take some water here, so I'm almost out of my voice.
Mini Wachoni.
Oh.
Mini Wachoni. Okay.
Doksha. Water's life. Okay. We'll talk later. Doksha.